Thank you for joining me. I have a number of questions for you today. And we were speaking a bit earlier, you've done a few interesting projects of late. The first question I'll start with is around the mobility project that you've recently undertaken and what that has meant for, I suppose, the department and the team.
Yeah, so it was sort of a combination of things that came together, but originally we had to revamp our data centre, and rather than revamp, there was a used publicly available data centre, so we've actually moved our data centre off premise for the first time, which meant we didn't have that in the building. And then we went through a process of giving all staff a laptop, and with that laptop then they can all be mobile, whereas previously it was only senior staff that had that capability. So suddenly all staff could do it, and we rolled out across all of our offices a program of activity-based working and flexible working arrangements. So activity-based working, they can work anywhere on any desk in the office. They've all got a locker. It improves security through a clear desk policy. At the end of the day, everything's gone. And the flexible working meant that everybody could suddenly work from home. Some of the feedback that we got were from people like people working part-time, who typically work really crazy, a fever when they get into the office, to try and get as much as they can in the part-time hours. So we're getting feedback from people like, on the bus on the way to work, I've connected my phone to my laptop, I've done all my email, and I've done all the administration tasks so that when I get to the office, I'm actually dealing with the people.
Absolutely.
Which was really great. And other people, I can leave, I can pick up the kids, I can drop them at soccer, and while they're doing it, I can sit there and I can log back on and get work done. So it was giving people a lot of flexibility, and that's been really well accepted around the organisation.
That's interesting because the activity-based working, you look at a number of the big organisations in Australia now, it's kind of everyone's moving towards Hotdesking and that style. There's often a lot of pushback because it's a massive change, right? People aren't used to it. And then when you think government, there's this idea that change is even harder because it's something that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Did you find that? It sounds like it went quite smoothly, but
there was a lot of work early on and consultation with staff especially in the early adopter buildings, because they had construction going on around them while they were working in the offices as well. But by the time we got to Canberra, which was our last office, we had it pretty well down pat, and certainly there's some staff that feel a little uncomfortable with it, but there's a range of different areas, smaller desks, large desks, quiet areas where people can choose to work depending on their style.
Fantastic. And are you finding since that shift the actual technology team has started to transform and work closer to the business as a result of that?
Especially in our applications areas, we always had people out with the business, not sitting all together as one group of applications people. So we've continued to do that, and we've enabled all of our offices with video conferencing. So it's available on people's laptops. They can do it from home. You'll frequently, any day of the week, I'll have a meeting where there's people, 8 or 10 different people in different locations on a meeting, and some will be at home, some will be in another meeting room in another office. If you can't fit in one room, they might be in another meeting room in the same office, but they're all just joining in, and that's been really well adopted.
Absolutely. Oh, that's exciting. You mentioned earlier that cloud adoption, that you're quite early in the journey, and all organisations are at different stages. Being where you are right now, has there been some key challenges, or is there just been, where are kind of the things that you're really facing day to day now with the team and with the business?
Yeah, so we actually have regulations on who can have access to data. So getting past that to show that it's actually secure, it means we change what we do a little bit. Everything's encrypted if we have to put it out there, but we haven't done very much yet, so we're still working through the processes. And we're looking for all of our new projects to be cloud first, if we can. So there's a few there where we've got the Data Integrations Program for Australia. We're looking to move our own data lab into the cloud as a first demonstration of, we can put this here and it is secure, but it's visible to everybody. And for those researchers to be able to access that, for other agencies then, if they come on board, to be able to put their data in there, they can put it in themselves, they can see the security. So we're going to try that. Our website, when we redesign that, looking to put that into the cloud. And of course we did have our early, it wasn't a skirmish, it was a full-on dive in with the Australian marriage law survey that we did a little while back now, and that was, despite the fact that it was a postal vote, we of course have a lot of people overseas, so we had an online presence, and we did a serverless application with AWS at the time, and they did most of the work, but we certainly learnt a lot through that process about how to do that, how to link it in with our internal systems, and how to manage the security and the things that we needed to worry about.
So as a citizen, I can expect to be doing a lot more voting online moving forward, or potentially?
Well, really, you wouldn't know any different. Like, whether it's in-house for us or in the cloud, we've had all of our surveys online for a very long time now. The censuses, the population and the agriculture censuses have all been online for quite some time now. So nearly everything we do, we offer that first. This is just a question of where we run it.
Sure.
And we're hoping that that doesn't make too big a difference, but there's still plenty of options there in terms of how we actually create the systems and deploy them.
Sure, absolutely.
We could take it and just extend our network and put it out there. I'm not sure that that's the most effective way, but we're going to have to assess that system by system.
Absolutely, and it's a learning journey.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Data Integration Program of Australia, and you mentioned these data labs that you're building. These are very much experimental proof of concept stages at the moment?
So our data lab's actually been there for at least a couple of years now, and we have several hundred users, like about 700 users. But it's researchers in universities and other government agencies, so it's a closed community. They sign their life away in terms of we will behave appropriately with this data, and there's legislation behind that in terms of what they can and can't do. And we've had that in-house for quite some time, which means as it grows, there's strain on infrastructure. So it's an ideal candidate to put out there so that overnight, nobody pretty much uses it, so you can close it down, whereas in-house you don't tend to do that. So it's got different possibilities in terms of if we put it out there, how we can use it, how we can cost it, how we can manage it.